my beautiful pumpkins, and welcome to today's pick a card. Today is a channeled message from your spirit guides, and it is what they want you to hear right now, or something they've been meaning to tell you, or just what you need to hear right now. So this is going to be a really beautiful message. I'm really excited to get into it. So this is pile number 1 with a clear quartz on top. This is pile number 2 with a moonstone on top, and this is pile number 3 with an amethyst on top. So you can go ahead and take some time, meditate with the cards, check out the timestamp, see if your lucky numbers are present. I'm going to go ahead and quiet up so we can get some nice meditation music in and give you about a minute or so to make that selection for yourself. All right, pile number 1, welcome in. So first we want to talk a little bit about the clear quartz. So clear quartz, I feel like if you ever feel drawn to a clear quartz, no matter what it looks like, this one is a little bit more rough versus tumbled, but whatever kind of clear quartz you are looking into, it's just a good crystal to have, period. Clear quartz often is like an introductory crystal for people if you've never gotten into crystals. This is one that I feel like most people will get as their first, and it's because it is the crystal that literally does it all. You know, we talk about moldavite and how crazy that is on TikTok, which, don't get me wrong, moldavite can be pretty crazy, but I feel like clear quartz is like so underrated because it can do everything. It can help clear out the energy of other crystals. It can cleanse spaces. It can protect you. It can literally stand in. It is like the holy grail of all crystals because it can stand in for other crystals. So beautiful energy. I feel like even when I hold this, I'm getting like, honestly, some of you, this is going to be for a specific few of you. Some of you may want to look into specifically getting Lemurian quartz. This is a different type of quartz. And with that Lemurian attached to it, some of you that are picking on this reading might also have ties to star seeds, and you yourself may be a star seed. So I would definitely punch that in, star seed Lemuria, and just like do a little bit of research back up in there. But that was a very specific message, but I just saw this like beautiful vision of like light beings coming together. So definitely look more into that if you are interested. But let's go ahead and see what we have on the cards for you. So we have the 4 of Swords right here, front and center. And I'm hoping that these cards are going to appear on camera decently. They are kind of dark. We've talked about these before. We have the Ace of Wands. Now this one is extremely dark, like so dark, like they have differences in the lighting effects. So I apologize if some of them are super, super dark, but some of them are less dark than others. So we have the Ace of Wands for you. We have the 6 of Wands. It seems like the wand cards are the truly dark ones. Like you can't even hardly see that one. But don't worry, the messages will still come through. We also have for you the 2 of Swords. Beautiful. And we have for you the 8 of Coins. So what I'm getting immediately in terms of what your spirit team, your guides, what they really want you to know right now. Actually, I'm going to see if I can't flip these cards to be over here, see if we can see them a little bit better. It's a little better. They're closer to the light source over there. So, but what I'm getting right off the bat is your guides recognize that you have literally been through hell and back. Like you maybe have gone through a hard time and you are truly just wanting rest. And it's not just like you want rest, like your physical being wants rest, but Spirit is saying that your soul wants rest. Your spirit wants rest. Maybe you have been feeling very broken or something big just happened in your life. I'm really getting this vibe of like rest is on the precipice. Like you've been working extremely hard. You've been mastering something. Maybe you've been giving more hours to a job. Or just really like, because with the 8 of Coins, this is usually working on some level of mastery. And Spirit wants you to know that like you have strong work ethic. When we see an 8 of Coins, this is somebody that is very dedicated to what they do. And you probably don't allow yourself to rest. And it's because you have such a dedicated, strong work ethic to whatever it is that you do. And gosh, I hate that phrase, what you do. We've equated people to the careers that they do. It doesn't even have to be a career. It could just be what you do on a day to day, and like not career focused. But Spirit says that it's okay for you to take a break every once in a while. Honestly, it's encouraged. The modern world, we are very run by divine masculine energy, which is a key component of every person on an individual energetic level. But a lot of us do not reside in the feminine. The feminine has kind of been really stomped out. And I think as a collective, even, we are coming to this place where the feminine is actually very on the rise. And I'm not talking about like feminism I know that if you've never heard some of these terms, it might sound that way, but I'm not talking about feminism necessarily. I'm talking about literally just the divine feminine energy, which is more of a flow, creative. It literally births new life. It births new things. It brings things from the conscious to the physical. And so like divine masculine is more on the conscious level, the logical level, where the divine feminine is actually very physical. And I feel like Spirit is really saying it's time to come home to your physical body. It's time to come home to your spirit, to your soul, and to allow yourself rest. And I know that for those of you that chose this pile, Spirit is telling me that for some of you, it's really hard for you to do this. It's very hard for you to relax. You're constantly thinking about all of the choices that you should be making or what you should be doing. It's like your list of things never stops. And I even get comments from some of you sometimes that say like, oh, you talk about rest or something in like whatever reading, but I can't rest. I have this deadline, this is going on. But you have to carve out time for that rest. Even if it's a bath in one evening out of the month, like for 30 minutes. Obviously, it's better if we're doing more than that, but start small with yourself. Maybe even wake up 5 minutes earlier in the morning and give yourself 5 minutes to just be with yourself. It takes time to remove yourself from autopilot and become more conscious in your physical reality. So that's also what I'm hearing is many of you just like run on autopilot because you've been told it's what you have to be doing right now. And don't get me wrong, there are seasons of life where we are go, 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 go. But to expect yourself to be every single season giving 100% of yourself all the time, you are cruising for a burnout. Is what I'm hearing. Like if you keep going in this direction, going this hard, you're eventually going to find yourself very miserable and burnt out. Now, if you have the energy to expend, don't let this reading stop you. Like if you feel like you are like so empowered, you want to get up and go, obviously balance that with some restful points in between, but just know that there are going to be seasons of life where those things fluctuate. And Spirit is here to tell us that, it's okay for you to make time for a season of rest. It's encouraged, in fact. I mean, even if we look at our astrology charts, right? I love talking about this stuff. And I know many of you are really invested in it too. I'm so happy that astrology has really gotten more mainstream again because more people know more about astrology than we used to, for sure. Just like everyday people that aren't necessarily astrologers. But even when we look at our birth charts, every month there is transits that are alternating. And I specifically really love working with moon transits. That's something that I really specialize in, even in my own practices as a Western astrologer, as a tropical astrologer. But every month, the moon is going to cycle through a different house of your chart for you. This happens for everyone. And if we look at those, we can actually see what we can kind of expect, even on like an emotional level. Everybody transits their 12th house at some point during the year. Everybody transits their 4th house at some point during the year. I would argue that those two transits, the 12th and the 4th, are not times where you're going to want to be push, 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 push. It's going to be very get into the flow, creative state, relax, go inward. It's going to be more of a season of winding down. I can give you real life examples on that, as we often do on this channel. But when I go through my 12th house transits every Scorpio season, you literally will see me disappear from the internet. And it's the same during Pisces season. When I hit my 4th house, my videos, I drop down to like 1 video a week. And that's like, I kind of lay low because my energy is not as abundant as it normally would be because I am spending time with me. And I understand that not for everybody, but for a lot of us, we do live in a very modern society that teaches us that we're not allowed to do that you literally have to work until you die. And I do think we are coming around collectively to that idea fading more and more out as we're getting more efficient at the things that we do, and we're able to do more of them remotely, especially during this big Aquarius transit. Anyway, that's just some astrology that is coming through. But the point being is you have to carve out time to rest. And I do think that that is something that is coming, whether you carve out the time or not. It's something that is on the precipice for you, because with the 4 of Swords, it's not even that you have to make the time or that you better do this thing or else. It's you literally are going to be entering a period of rest. So look forward to that. It's going to be a good time. Now, with a 6 of Wands and an Ace of Wands, I actually feel like Spirit wants you to know, oh my God, I'm going to cry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know I don't need to apologize for crying. I think I start to apologize because I don't want to take up so much of your time. And if I start to get emotional because I'm feeling your energy, I think it sometimes can slow the process a little bit if we can have a moment of authenticity. But Spirit is saying that your guides are so proud of you. You have worked your ass off. And even if it's like a mental struggle, or it's not like you've been actually doing anything like with your hands or laborious or whatever, Spirit wants you to know that you literally have been through hell and back, and they gave you this gift with the Ace of Wands. Aces are always gifts from the universe every time. And it's what you do with that gift that allows it to progress. And you've done that. You've done something significant. I'm hearing that many of you have been doing your shadow work. Many of you have been looking at the patterns of your life. You're becoming more conscious of your decisions. And Spirit says, oh my God, we need to take this moment to recognize you. We want you to know that you are doing such a great job. And because from an Ace of Wands to a 6 of Wands, this is recognition for the work that you've done. So Spirit wants to say, we see you. You're doing fantastic. Like, you're doing good, sweetie. Keep going. But it's more than that. It's this unconditional love presence that's coming through that just, we love you so unconditionally, and just keep going. Like, the rest is coming. You've worked so hard. And some of you also maybe are currently being faced with some really big decisions because of what you've worked on, what you've built, what you've cultivated. For some of you, now this is going to be a select few of you, you're being faced with the decision of cutting some people out of your life. And it's hard because I think that they're family. I'm hearing that they are family and this is really hard and you don't want to make these decisions. You never, like, to be honest with you, and you can take this information and run with it. Nobody ever wants to cut their family out of their life. Nobody is born yesterday and is like, oh man, sounds like a good day to cut my family out of my life. The family usually gives you the scissors. There's usually a good reason for it, and it usually is psychological damage. And Spirit is seeing that maybe you're getting wise to the people around you that are not supporting your betterment. And it doesn't make you toxic or bad or wrong to want better for yourself and to want to move away from this energy that's hurting you. And some of you, it won't even be a cutoff forever. It might just be you need time to heal and to cocoon and to rest. Your soul literally wants rest. And you're having to make this really hard decision to move away from certain people. This doesn't have to be family. It could be friends too, or someone that's been like a lifelong friend. I'm hearing that it's a connection that runs very deep though. It's not somebody that you met 3 weeks ago and you now need to cut them out. It's something that runs a little bit deeper, someone that runs deeper. The attachment is deeper. And Spirit is saying that it's okay to put your best interests first. It's okay to be in pursuit of your best interests for once. You know, many of you have maybe even been accused of being selfish or what have you, but recognize when people don't respect your boundaries, it's because they benefit from you not having them. And if you need to cut someone off for a little bit or step away for a while, if they have a problem with it, it's really not about you. It's about them. And they need to get more comfortable with them. It's not your job to comfort them. It's not your job to hold space for someone that really comes in and hurts you over and over again. So, that was a lot. Let's get the oracle cards out here and see what's going on. Okay, so we have, oh my gosh, this is literally what I just said. The end of a tough cycle approaches with the full moon Capricorn. We have the look at the bigger picture, full moon in Sagittarius, which we have a full moon in Sagittarius. It's not this full moon that we're currently, I think the day that this goes up, the full moon was yesterday, the full moon was on Monday if you're watching this when this goes live, and it was a Scorpio full moon, but we'll have a Sagittarius full moon next month. And we also have don't let pride get in your way with the full moon in Leo. So y'all, you really have been going through it. And I say this because every single one of these cards is a full moon. Every single, and full moons are beautiful energy. I don't want you to fear the full moon, but full moons are intense. You know, with the new moon, this is bringing in new energy. With the full moon, this is a culmination of something. And a lot of times it's a release of something. You ever notice how your animals be acting up around the full moon, your coworkers acting up, your family's acting up? The full moons are very intense energy. Look at what the full moon does to the ocean and how it pulls at it that way. And how much of our body is made up of water? It's a very intense time. And Spirit is saying, brace yourself. I'm seeing somebody really having to dig. I'm getting a vision of somebody having to dig their feet. They're standing on the shore of an ocean, and the ocean represents the subconscious. They're standing on the shore of an ocean and they're having to dig their feet into the sand as the waves crash and lap upwards on them, because they are remaining grounded. You right now need to remain grounded as intensity might circulate around you, especially if you're making the decision to take time out for you and cut people out that aren't in your highest alignment. There might be a lot of toxic energy that will circulate, but if you yourself are grounded in where you are, you're going to be fine. The waves are going to go back down. Everything's going to simmer. But it might be an intense time. Do not let pride get in your way with this situation. Don't let pride get in your way. Don't allow yourself to match their energy. If there's another person involved with this, they could be a Leo, a Capricorn, or a Sagittarius in their big three. Do not let yourself match their energy. If they want to come at you for whatever reason, I would almost say just silence it. Just don't. You can even practice energy cloaking, which is something that I definitely practice even as a tarot card reader. Like, don't match their energy. The end of this cycle is approaching, but it's like one more storm and then we're done. And then look at the bigger picture with the full moon in Sagittarius. This is about you becoming wiser from the experience. And you, again, getting that up level in consciousness and allowing yourself to become a divine flowing creator of your reality. And I feel like many of you have already been putting work in on this with that 8 of Coins, with the recognition that we're seeing. You're already there. You're already feeling that energy building. But Spirit is saying just like it is going to be okay. Whatever situation is rising on you right now. I don't know why the ocean is coming through so strong, but whatever is rising on you right now, it's going to fall away. You have the strength, and ultimately your soul just needs rest right now. So we also have for you, oh my gosh, we have the Phoenix. And we have the Underworld. So again, with the Phoenix, I said this right in the beginning of this reading, you've been through hell and back. If you chose this pile, you have literally been through hell and back. And I say that because that's what the Phoenix does. The Phoenix literally crumbles into ash to be born and to rise again. And I feel like that is what you have experienced or currently are experiencing, and that is coming to a close, and you are going to be in this Phoenix energy, especially if you are listening around this Scorpio full moon. Scorpio in tropical astrology is ruled by the planet Pluto, and Pluto and Scorpio, they're all about deep transformation. Shocking transformation, big transformation. The Phoenix literally rises from the fire that kills them. And I feel for you, that's really you rising up as the Phoenix. Like, think about the best version of yourself emerging from this storm. That's what we're looking at. And the more you can ground and stay centered within yourself, the easier the transition will be. The Underworld, I actually would like to look at the book on this one. I have an idea of what it's about, but I feel like this reading has been so intense that, I mean, gosh, the Underworld, I feel like as a concept is intense. So this will be really interesting. Okay, the Underworld. If the Underworld card comes to you, it's either an invitation to go within yourself or to serve as an acknowledgement of where you currently are. Literally. If you do not sense you are in the Underworld, this card is asking you to take a pause and allow things that need to fall away to do so. If you are in the Underworld at this moment, it can often feel like it is a trial after trial, loss after loss. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not going to cry. It may also feel empty and uncomfortable. The Underworld is where we die and are reborn. It holds the fire of transformation. So many people resist being in the Underworld or try to rush the journey, but the card is asking you to settle into it and surrender. Give yourself permission to be in this in-between space and welcome the changes to the best of your ability. While we are in the Underworld, we need to allow ourselves to be here without anticipating the rebirth. We must simply be there. So interestingly enough, I actually think you are beyond this, because even the energy of the reading in and of itself, I feel like you are in the thick of it. There isn't it's coming, it's you're there right now, or you are emerging from it. Because when we have the Phoenix, this card isn't about being in the middle of it. It is about the emerging from. So I feel like you're hitting this reading at a time where the emerging is already upon you. And we have 2 more cards. We have Answers and Clarity. These are literally messages within themselves. Answers and clarity is literally what this whole situation is bringing you to. You're having more clarity of self, more clarity of your surroundings. The answers that you've been waiting and asking and praying so desperately for, they're here. I just got like a big feeling of like a sigh of relief. I feel like within this week, you're going to see like some kind of major transformation. And if this and this is timeless. So whenever you see it, it will be like within that week. come back and comment and let me know how it goes. Like, I feel like this reading was so intense. I mean, I don't know why I would expect any less. I'm reading this on the Scorpio full moon, which is like an intense time anyways, but this reading was very intense. But my beautiful pumpkins, I love you so, so, so much. You're doing good things. Spirit knows you're doing good things. And again, so proud. Do not forget, when you stand up in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Do not forget that I list all the cards down below, as well as my Instagram, my TikTok. I put new moon horoscopes out during the new moon, so make sure you check that out. And if you feel called to do so, it is never an expectation, but always appreciated. I have my Cashapp, Venmo, PayPal. I do accept tips for my readings, but again, I don't expect it, but I certainly do appreciate it if you feel called. And I love you so much, and I will speak to you again in a future reading. Bye. All right. Hello, my pile number twos, and welcome into this reading. So right off the bat, we do have Moonstone for you, and Moonstone, honestly, to me is one of the more, it's a very like gentle stone, gentle crystal. Moonstone is definitely a crystal that I would use to connect more with like divine feminine energy, creative energy, because Moonstone to me helps us to activate the divine feminine, which we also do see in moon cycles in the moon, right? The moon is a very feminine aspect. So I feel like Moonstone can be really good for enhancing that. And it's also just like a gentle, loving energy. I put Moonstone right up there with rose quartz, which, this is from our last pile. I put Moonstone up there with rose quartz in very like gentle, nurturing energy. So this just might be something that you want to pick up for yourself, or a crystal you want to add to your collection in the future. There are plenty other uses for Moonstone. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not as familiar with Moonstone as a lot of other crystals. It's not one that I use a lot, but Spirit said that for this pile, you may want to. So let's go ahead and see what the cards have in store for you, my beautiful pile number two. So we have for you the Ruler of Wands right out the gate. Ooh, spicy. I like that. I'm just going to refocus the camera. Okay. We have Ruler of Wands. We have the Two of Wands. We have the Four of Cups. Oop. We have the Seven of Swords. And the Conqueror of Swords. Ooh. All right. We'll look at the oracle cards in a little bit. We're just going to start with these first. So with each of these, now I do apologize. This Two of Wands is very, very, very dark. So I'll try to get you a little bit of that, show you how it kind of reflects off the light there. Okay. The wand cards in this deck I find tend to be a lot darker than the rest of them. But what I'm hearing from Spirit right off the bat, as I was putting these cards down, I heard that someone isn't matching your energy. And this could be a partner, a friend, or a business partner, like a partner romantic or a partner business-wise, a mentor, somebody that you spend a lot of time with. Someone currently isn't matching your energy. And I don't know why I had to like hear that. Maybe there's something that like you've had, and this is very specific, so this isn't going to be every single person, but I feel like there's somebody that you're having like maybe insecure thoughts around, like you're not feeling secure in the relationship, not that you yourself are insecure. And Spirit is saying that somebody isn't matching your energy. And I say that because I feel like you're trying to like read their mind, but you can't. And I feel like they're not being very forthcoming with information. And I feel like that's really frustrating to you. Pile number two, are y'all frustrated? I feel like there's a little bit of frustration going on, but Spirit wants you to know that these two energies, it's almost like creative forces are going against logical forces. And it might even be your own energy that's not matching up. Like maybe you've been told something your whole life that you're not allowed. I find this to be very common in creative types. If you're somebody that is like very divinely created and that's what you want to do, like to your heart's content, you want to just create. I find that often logic will get in our way of that. Logic will get in the way and say, oh, we can't do that because we might end up like poor or on the streets or, whatever consequence that we do not want from not having more abundance in our life. And Spirit is really saying that you're here to be a divine creator. You are somebody that is a thought leader. You are someone that has the ability to create whatever from your own hands. I'm hearing like something you make with your hands. Now, this doesn't mean that every single one of you is like super entrepreneurial. Like maybe some of you just literally want to live a quiet life, painting and being a dog parent. That could totally be you. This doesn't mean that you have to go in pursuit of some kind of big career. But Spirit is really saying that you have the ability to have that. Now, if it is leadership in being a thought leader, having that charisma, having that ability to really amp other people up and be that person, that's one way. The other way I feel like is just being very creative in general and listening to your own intuition and not letting your thoughts kind of block you from having that. Spirit is saying that you already hold the power within you to have that desire, and you have to stop letting any thoughts that are standing in your way of that keep you from having it. Because the reason I say that is with the Conqueror of Swords and the Ruler of Wands, the Conqueror of Swords can be very, like, they have great ideas and want to run with them. But I find that sometimes the Conqueror of Swords, they'll just get stuck at the idea stage and they won't move. And Spirit is saying that's not you. That's not the energy that you need to be in. Or maybe if you are in a relationship and there's a lot of that conflicting energy going, like you're very passionate, but they're very logical about everything, you definitely need to sit down and have an emotional discussion. Now, this is either going to be with someone else or by yourself. If this is you with a lot of mixed feelings, you need to sit down and actually observe with the other person, like I said, or alone. Because the reason there's all this conflicting energy going on is I don't think you're clear on what you really want. Spirit is also confused on what to give you because I don't think you're clear. There might be like, oh yeah, I want this thing, but you haven't allowed yourself to really dream. You haven't allowed yourself to really light that internal flame and let yourself just dream big with no limitation. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel like in our modern society, many of us don't even allow ourselves to go there because there is a fear of disappointment if we let it happen. If we let ourselves actually engage, if we let, like, with the ideas, with the dreams, with the thoughts, there is a fear that what we want will not manifest. And we're going to be left with all these empty cups, our own cup completely depleted, all of our hopes and dreams washed away. And Spirit is saying, no, you actually do need to sit with them to understand what it is that you want. So we know what to give you. Think of your manifestations like going to a coffee or tea store. You go up to the barista. You go up to the barista and usually there's a menu there that you can choose from if you're unsure. But if you're somebody that goes there on the regular, you usually know what you want. You might try something different every once in a while, but usually you have that like tried and true order of this is what I really desire. But you don't stress that the barista isn't going to make your coffee. Because you've done this so many times that they're going to take your order, make it how you asked, and you're going to have a cup of coffee. Now, that's like a really general example, but this is how the universe works. It needs to know the desire in order to actually deliver the finished product. And I feel like many of you are getting caught in these like thought spirals, and it's not allowing you to dream big. Now, if this is you and another person, Spirit is also saying that there is a lack of emotional fulfillment between the two of you. I hate to be this bearer of bad news right now. I am guilty of oftentimes putting more of a positive inflection on my readings because I want people to leave feeling good about themselves and their choices. But I also feel like sometimes there are things that come through. Now, this isn't going to be for every person, but Spirit is also saying that you hold a fear of abandonment. If this is you and another person, which, like I said, we kind of have two channels going on right now, but you have a fear of abandonment. It's like you're not asking them the right clarifying questions to get them to talk. You think that you should just be able to read their body language or read their mind and figure out what's wrong without actually having a deep conversation, because there is a fear that if you tell someone how you feel or you open up about what is not going correctly, that they will pick up and just leave. And the fact of the matter is, most people in the world aren't like that. There was probably someone or maybe even multiple people in your life that have reacted this way, but not every person in the world wants to treat you like that. Not every person in the world is out here to get you, to leave you, to hurt you. And if this is somebody that is meant to be in your life or a part of your life, then if you sitting down and asking clarifying questions should be a good thing. It should deepen that connection that you have with someone else. And I think there might be a little bit of a fear between, like, something's getting lost in translation. And you're maybe somebody that has had to rely on your extra instincts. You're somebody that might identify as a highly sensitive person. Something I want to actually mention is there is a difference between being an empath and being a highly sensitive person. Being a highly sensitive person, usually this is something that is a learned behavior. Not always. Sometimes we are just born being a little more sensitive, but oftentimes it is a learned behavior because we have had to use this skill of being able to read people's body language, their emotions, their facial expressions. We're more in tune and sensitive to other people and their emotions because it was a survival mechanism for you at one time. Now, an empath, this to me is something that is a little bit more naturally inclined. You might just be really sensitive to these things, even if you didn't have to experience putting yourself through survival. And the reason I'm bringing all of this up is if you do identify as a highly sensitive person, you've maybe been conditioned to think that you have to control how somebody else perceives you in order to stay safe. And, I'm not a therapist or a psychologist, so do not ever take my readings as a placement for that. I always need to make that very clear. Though I am a student of psychology, there is no degree attached to that at the moment. So please do not take what I'm saying as like, this is, I'm not a medical professional, but I feel like that's something that's coming through really strong. And that might be for just everybody who chose this pile, that you're somebody that is very highly aware because you've had to have that skill. But I feel like this person that you're with, if this is you and another person, they're maybe here to teach you that it doesn't have to be that way, that you can actually melt into this other person and allow them to see you for who you are. I honestly feel like this relationship is a gift in that way. Like, this is a relationship that allows you to show the shadow aspects of yourself, and you don't have to have fear that they're going to run away. So those of you that are having just very conflicting feelings internally about your own art, your own ability to create your reality, there is this lack of satisfaction with the current reality because we're letting our thoughts dictate what we're allowed to do. There is no limit to what you are allowed to do in this lifetime. Literally, you are truly a limitless being. And the more you actually, again, put in that order, like it's a coffee or a tea order, and start with something small. Start with asking for free coffee. Start for asking, something small that you really desire. Start doing that. I tried this early on in my manifestation journey when I was learning about manifestation. Specifically, I did not have the money to buy stevia. This is such a silly success story, but I'm going to tell you anyway, because this is what I mean by start small. I needed stevia for my coffee because I was on a big stevia kick and I had run out and I was really broke at the time. And I had not learned the power of manifesting abundance yet. And so I specifically said to my guides, I was like, hey, if you're listening to me and this whole thing is real, can you supply me with stevia specifically? Tell me why my husband came home from work that night and randomly had been given from like a coworker a tub of stevia. They didn't know that we liked stevia. My husband didn't even know I was out. Like, spirit will work through other people to get you what you desire as well. So that's what I mean by start small. Ask for something small. Maybe you want a piece of moonstone. Set the intention for that. Allow me to receive moonstone, and don't put a time limit on it. Just ask for it and then forget about it. And the more you can prove to yourself over and over that your thoughts create your reality, the easier it becomes to manifest bigger and bigger and bigger things. Like, you're most likely not going to be able to manifest a Tesla overnight, a house overnight. You're going to have to start smaller if there's a lack of belief. I feel like there's also a lot of lack of belief in self just coming through. And spirit wants you to know, like, they're ready for an order. They're ready to give you what you're asking for. So don't be afraid to ask. Now, we also have a 7 of Swords and a 2 of Wands over here. And ultimately, I feel like well, the 2 of Wands, that's really about having like the world in your hands, having the ability to create anything that you desire, which we kind of already covered that. But the 7 of Swords, I think some of you are afraid that you're going to be greedy as well. You're afraid that if you ask for what it is that you actually desire, even if it's like $1 million or, I'm just throwing out like stereotypical stuff. You're afraid that other people are going to perceive you as greedy, or that you're going to become a bad person because you asked for abundance and got it. And Spirit is also saying to work on your limiting beliefs around money. For those of you that have a lot of money limiting beliefs and you are able to, I highly encourage, check your local library, purchase it if you are able to. The book, You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. One of the best books I've ever read on manifesting money and manifesting abundance, and just completely altered my perspective on how it is actually in the best interest of my family, of my community, of the world, that I become a wealthy, rich person, like if that's what I desired. Because me with money is a good thing for the world. It's not like I'm not out here pulling people out of jobs, giving people like nothing for their hard labor. There's a lot of bad people in the world that have a lot of money too, but it doesn't mean that if you have money, you're going to become a bad person. Does that make sense? I feel like that's something that's coming through, is like you're afraid to ask for big things because you're afraid that it's going to come across like you're asking for too much. And the problem with that is Spirit is saying, no, you're not asking enough. So Spirit wants you to ask. Spirit wants you to receive your heart's desire. You are given desire because you are meant to see it fulfilled. Desire is nothing to be ashamed of, even if it's a Birkin, like desire is truly nothing to be ashamed of. We have it because it helps us drive our way forward into new and exciting experiences. If we didn't have desire, it would be difficult to do a lot of things. If we didn't have a desire to help others, a desire to, I'm not saying everybody is in the pursuit of receiving something. It can be literally just the desire to help others, but it's that desire that can lead us to doing things differently in our lives. You see what I'm saying? But it also can be a desire for something too. It doesn't have to be this like evil thing. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at the oracle cards that we have for you. So we have meditate and contemplate. We have nothing is yet set in stone. And conclusions are within reach. So meditate and contemplate. Spirit is saying if you're not sure how to even get the ball rolling on asking for what you desire or opening yourself up to communicating with someone else if things are not going so well, Spirit is saying to take some time to meditate and contemplate on this. Meditation is going to be your friend. And if you're someone that's like, I don't know how to meditate, I can't meditate, I don't like meditating, start small. It doesn't mean you have to sit down for an hour and a half and do this crazy meditation. It could literally be a meditation that is 2 minutes. You just breathing in and out like 5 or 6 times, deep breaths all the way into the belly. Start really small and keep that promise to yourself. If you want to do it every morning, every other day is good too, and keep track of that progress, because oftentimes when we're going to make a change in our life of something that we haven't already done, like if you're already into meditating, Spirit is saying like, this is good. Keep doing that. But if you're not, keeping a small promise to yourself is like one of the best ways to enact change in your life. If you really struggle with going to bed on time, this could be like a multitude of things. This is like advice for life, not just this situation. Like, I'll give you examples from my own personal life. I have struggled in the past with, do I want to talk about that? If eating disorders is something that triggers you, I would encourage you to like skip ahead a couple minutes in the video. But in the past, I've struggled with binge eating disorder, and something that actually helped me, even though it seems like it maybe would be totally uncorrelated, was promising myself that I would wake up at a certain time every day. Because being self-employed for like 8 or 9 years now, how many years has it been? I think since like 2013. It's been like 7 years, 8 years. It's been about 8 years I've been self-employed, doing different things than I'm doing now, but still. And bedtimes were just like non-existent for me because I could work anytime or do whatever anytime. And I noticed that as I started, like, I kind of lost all structure in my life when I went into like being self-employed. And it honestly caused a lot of chaos in my everyday life, but keeping a small promise to myself that was just around waking up. And it wasn't, okay, I have to go to bed at this time and this is my routine. And when I wake up, this is my routine. And if it's not so perfect, then I've totally ruined everything. But just keeping that one promise of I'm going to wake up at this time, Monday through Friday, has dramatically changed the way that I view myself. It has dramatically changed the way, and I know it seems simple, like it's almost too good to be true. Your promise that you decide to keep to yourself could be something totally different. It could be this 2 minutes of meditation every day. But the more you keep that promise to yourself, the more you enact to yourself that you yourself are trustworthy. I'm also hearing that many of you just don't trust yourselves, period. That's another reason we have this 7 of Swords, is that self-betrayal, self-sabotage. And I think that's why this is coming through so strongly, is Spirit is saying, that you lack self-trust. And to build that is a really great place to start, is pick one thing. I'm going to drink 8 ounces of water in the morning, every morning, and do that. And it doesn't mean if you miss a day that now you've totally screwed up. It just means that tomorrow you're going to get back on it. Like eventually, whatever promise you make to yourself, it's going to become such a habit that if you miss a day here and there, it will become less and less and less of a big deal because they're small parts of a greater whole. Does that make sense? I hope so. But anyways, my point to this is, those of you that don't meditate, that was just a message for you, I suppose. You can start a practice, just start really small. Nothing is yet set in stone with any of your manifestations, and conclusions with that are in reach. So maybe some of you have been really focused on like a lot of negative stuff or stuff you don't want in your life. And that's like, because we hear all the time, we never turn manifestation off. It's always going, like we manifest everything. And I think sometimes that can also enact a lot of fear, but nothing is ever totally set in stone. You're always able, to shift your natural vibrational frequency into something different. And Spirit wants you to know that anything that you have put out into the universe that like now you've decided you want to change your mind, it's okay. You're allowed to do that. And I do feel like something is going to conclude very quickly for you. Full moon eclipse Eclipses are big energy too. Like that's not small potatoes. So we also have for you Zebra and get creative. So again, we're talking about that creativity. I mentioned this a little earlier in the reading that I feel like some of you are creative types, but you let logic really get in your way with allowing yourself to fully embrace your creative nature. And this is just a reconfirmation of that. You are not meant to beat to the drum that everyone else does in this time space reality, because zebras to me are like the black sheep. Zebra represents being a creative visionary. Literally, it has this like creative pyramid over its third eye. You see the world differently than everyone else. And that's why it's so important for you to stand up in your own authenticity and empower everyone around you to do the same, right? It's so important for you to be who you are and to make yourself more and more and more comfortable being that person, because you need you. And I think even like your community, your family, or even the world, if you want to go that big with it, needs you to be your authentic self, to be your fullest and best expression of self. And I feel like ultimately that's what this is really about. You know, we've talked about a lot of things in this reading. Spirit had a lot of messages for you, pile number 2. And then lastly, we have travel and courage. Some of you might be Leos or attached to a Leo or a Pisces, with this lion and the new moon in Pisces here. And with travel, some of you might also be feeling the pull to travel, just like in general. Travel and courage, that might be a big dream that you have, is to like spread your wings and get to like live life on the go and travel more. This is a confirmation from Spirit that if that's your desire, you are more than allowed to have that. The world needs that special gift that only you can provide. And with courage, have courage. Have courage in yourself. Have courage in your, or like courage and faith in your dreams, and persevere. Like Spirit is also saying that you will persevere. And with this Ruler of Wands and courage coming out, this has very strong ties to Leo as well. Just the astrological sign of Leo. And Leo is having a big heart and having the confidence to share it. So I feel like that really is you, and you're stepping into this now. So that is what I have for you. This is what your spirit guides wanted you to hear. Beautiful pile number 2. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do not forget, when you stand up in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. All the cards are linked down below for you if you'd like to get them for yourself. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitch. All the links are down below. We have a new moon stream coming up on May 11th where I will be giving away free readings. So definitely make sure you're following the Twitch channel. There will be more announcements on that as we get closer to the dates. And last but certainly not least, if this reading resonated and you feel called to do so, I have my Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal listed down below. It is never an expectation, but always, always appreciated. I do accept tips for my readings. Thank you so much, my beautiful pumpkins, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye. Hello, my beautiful pile number 3, and welcome to your pick a card reading. This reading is going to be what messages you need to hear from your spirit guides, your spirit team right now. And the first thing I want to talk about is the crystal on top. So this is an amethyst. And if you're unfamiliar with amethyst, amethyst is, in my personal opinion, I do feel like there are a lot of uses for amethyst, but the one that I associate it with the most is psychic inclination. So they literally refer to amethyst as the channeling stone because it can actually help you channel your psychic abilities. And some people say that amethyst like helps them sleep better, which maybe that does work for you. For me personally, I feel like having this crystal anywhere near my bed is a recipe for like insane dreams. So I feel like this crystal would actually keep me up because it will help me channel into like the spirit guide realm. So for me, not so much, but I feel like it's also whatever intentions we set. But this crystal can help amplify psychic ability, help you engage in your psychic abilities, and even help you to open your third eye. So Spirit says that, maybe that's something that you need, or something that, like, maybe if you have a lot of headaches, I know that amethyst can help too. So that might just be a crystal that you want to get your hands on. But let's go ahead and see what the cards have to say for us today. So we have the High Sage. Ooh, we love to see it. Let me refocus the camera just a little bit because I feel like these cards can be difficult to see. I'm also going to move this up here for us. But we have the 10 of Swords. We have the 8 of Swords. We have the 9 of Cups. This is interesting. This is getting real interesting. And the Ruler of Cups. Okay, so number one, we were on the money with talking about psychic gift, because the Ruler of Cups is a deeply psychic card. The Ruler of Cups is the this is basically what like the King of Cups would be. And the Queen of Cups also is very psychically inclined, but I feel like a lot of the cup court cards, which is going to be the Page, the King, the Queen, and the Knight, all of those like court cards in the cup suit, they all kind of talk a little bit about leading with your intuition, leading with your psychic gifts in life. And so I feel like those of you that chose this pile, that's really where your energy either is, like you're somebody that you already have really strong intuition, or Spirit is telling you that your intuition is like off the charts and you need to start paying more attention to it, because you're someone that you actually have the ability to know things before they happen, dream them up before they happen. You might even find that you're clairaudient like myself. You hear things, like they'll just... People ask me a lot, because I bridge psychology and spirituality as a student of psychology. And people ask me a lot, like, how do you know that you're not dealing with like mental illness and that you're actually hearing something when you're clairaudient? It's hard to explain. Like, I know that it is like spirit, and it's not. I feel like there are so many answers for this, and I might not even be the right person to educates. But I would say, like, even when we talk about like the realm of mental illness where like you hear voices, we don't know enough about that. In general, we don't know enough, period. And who's to say that even those aren't like, they could just be more in touch with the spirit realm and we don't even know that. Does that make sense? Like, anyways, I am not a psychologist or a therapist or a psychiatrist, so please don't take any information that I give you in my readings as such. Just, open the door to be a little bit more curious about that stuff. But with clairaudience, I hear that a lot because I am clairaudient, and I will get asked that a lot. Like, how do you know that those voices are coming from your guides and it's not just like in your head? Or like, how do you hear that? I also have a clear knowing. So it's also like, I just know. And that comes from, honestly, I was kind of raised my whole life to trust my psychic gifts. And I guess we're going on a little bit of a side story here, because I feel like many of you might be able to resonate with this. But if you ever grew up in like a religious home, which I am non-religious now, but if you ever grew up in a religious home, a lot of religions, not all of them, but a lot of religions will kind of teach you to trust your intuition, even if that's not what they call it. I grew up Mormon. I'm no longer Mormon, but I grew up Mormon, and they always teach you to listen to the still small voice. That's like something that is always said in Mormonism. Or like listening to the Holy Spirit. And so being born into a Mormon family, that was something that, though they didn't call it psychic gifts, it really honed my ability to trust my intuition above everything else. So I was never like, we always talk about how kids are more psychically inclined because they don't have it like pressured out of them yet. And I feel like for me, if I could give like my upbringing anything, it would be that. It would be, I am more psychically inclined because I had that. It was never like suppressed or oppressed out of me. Like it was like actually a gift that was really celebrated. So Anyways, my point to that is some of you maybe already naturally have a psychic gift, and spirit wants you to like activate that psychic gift. Because even with this 8 of Swords and 10 of Swords, I feel like there might be a lot of fear tied to this. Like mentally, you're scared, or you've had people tell you of like spirit experiences or ghost experiences, or anything like paranormal might really freak you out. And ultimately, it's because we've been conditioned and taught that those things are scary. You know, we have horror movies depicting it to us, and they don't have to be. It doesn't have to be something that is so terrifying. Now, I'm not saying that like certain things aren't the best. Like sleep paralysis is scary AF. I don't think anything good comes out of sleep paralysis, at least not for me. When it has happened, the few times that it has, like it doesn't usually feel like a very good thing. But basically what I'm getting at is I'm not saying that every spirit out there wants to do you well, but I do feel like the more you open the door and what you feel ready for, the more you open the door for like peace, even setting the intention for having the spirits of the highest love and compassion to support you, be with you, work with you. That's the energy that you're inviting in. And I always want to say, like, be weary of that. If you're somebody that you want to get more into your psychic gifts, make sure you're setting intention for what kind of energy you want to work with, because we hear all these crazy stories of things happening to people that are just more scary, or maybe like a ghost is just messing with them or like freaked them out or something. A lot of times, not always, like sometimes we end up in a location where something is haunted or what have you, but a lot of times it's our fear that can even create those things. And I can't think of what it's called. Maybe some of you in the comments might know, but there is actually, like, you have the ability to create with your own thoughts. You have the ability to create. Is it like an aberration? I can't think of what it's called, but we have the ability to basically create like dark energy if we are not careful. And I don't feel like it's something that we just do like instantaneously without thinking about it. I don't think it's necessarily easy to do it, but I do feel like sometimes our own fear can create those things. So just like know that there's kind of a lot to work with in this realm, and it doesn't have to be any one which way. Like, it doesn't have to be all scary. It doesn't have to be all love and light. It doesn't have to be. Basically, the message that you need right now is to just get curious about psychic abilities. I have a couple videos on my channel where I've talked about psychic gifts. If you're interested about like different kinds of psychic gifts, things like that, I will link them for you down below and in the card section. So you can watch them later if you want to. But basically, with psychic gifts, Spirit wants you to get curious and to really work to overcome your fears. Because with a 10 of Swords, this is like completely giving in to fear. And especially, I feel like with this deck, it's really about giving completely into fear and surrendering, just... It's almost like defeat as well. Like there's also this, oh, well, this person's gifted and this person's gifted and this person's gifted, but gifts, like, it can never be for me. And ultimately, Spirit is saying, like, no, you actually are allowed to hold gifts, and your gifts don't have to hurt you, and it doesn't have to be something that is so detrimental and scary. And with the 8 of Swords, this is all a construct of our own mind. The 8 of Swords is a lot about how we actually have the ability to create mental cages for us. We will keep ourselves in a box, even if no one has told us you don't have a gift, or even if nobody has like mocked the things that we know to be true because of intuition. We think if we start speaking on it, that people are going to silence us. And it's like, we're already preparing for the worst when the worst hasn't even happened. Does that make sense? Like, it's almost like you put yourself in your own mental prison over feeling like you're not allowed to express your psychic gifts. Like, those of you that chose this pile, Spirit wants you to know that you are naturally inclined, because we have the High Sage, and the High Sage is literally the most psychic card in the deck. Like, the High Sage has ties to the High Priestess in traditional Rider-Waite-Smith Coleman Tarot. And so the high sage, this is like the all seeing. I just got goosebumps. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. It might be too washed out, but Spirit wants you to know that you are psychically inclined. You see the seen and the unseen. And I feel like I don't even need to say these things to you because you probably already know. You already have had a deep sense of inner knowing. You just need to work on honing that. And with the Nine of Cups, Spirit is also saying if that's what you want, if you want to like, maybe you want to get into divination, you want to work with like crystals and tarot and pendulums and, or maybe you want to like increase, like maybe you're somebody that already has visions and you want to increase the likelihood of visions, or you want to work with people in that way and like help them or help people speak to family members that have passed on, or there's like a lot of psychic stuff I'm getting thrown at me right now. Maybe you're somebody that has kind of already had some of those experiences, but you haven't fully opened the door on your gifts yet. And Spirit is saying, like, now is the time to set intention for these gifts. Now is the time to ask for them. Now is the time to believe that it is possible for you to have them fully. Because the Nine of Cups is the card of a gift being received. This is literally something you've set intention for coming into the best and fullest potential of itself and coming to you. And like, this is honestly probably one of my favorite cards in the deck as well, the Nine of Cups. And in this deck in particular, it's just so freaking pretty. I don't even know how well you can see it, but let me refocus. I feel like the card itself is just so pretty. You can kind of see it. So beautiful. It's got all, it's like, it reminds me of like a champagne wedding tower. Like if you've ever seen one of those. They're just so pretty. But it's literally a gift being given to you. So this whole reading is about that. It's about you having gifts. Now, I also feel like those of you that aren't in the psychic realm of things, or maybe like you're like, oh, I don't know about all that. I'm just not ready for all that. The cup cards also talk about our emotional intelligence. And so the ruler of cups, if this is you, you're somebody that has high emotional intelligence. Like you are able to navigate your emotions. Maybe you're going through a time where your emotions have swallowed you, but you're coming into a time now where because of all of these things that you've learned, especially, again, shadow work. I feel like we talked a little bit about shadow work in pile number 1 as well. But with shadow work coming through really strong here too, because we have the light and the dark aspects, the moon aspects, which we have the full moon, and then we have the dark moon, which would be the new moon. The reason that you have such high emotional intelligence, or that you are coming into this gift, is that you've been through a lot. You've clearly been through a lot. You've seen some shit in your life. And because of that, you have the ability to help others. Even if you don't feel like it's quite on the psychic level of things, when you have high emotional intelligence, you're able to help people. Like it doesn't have to be in the realm of spirituality. It could even be in the realm of psychology, like helping people with their problems, helping your loved ones with their problems, being that emotionally sound person with like the wisdom of a sage. Sages, the energy of the high sage is someone that knows when to share their gifts and when to be quiet, basically. Like they are someone that is wise beyond anyone in their community, and people go to them for their wisdom. So you are somebody that has so much wisdom and so much potential. And Spirit is saying, like, don't be so held back by your imperfections. Like I feel like many of you are also feeling very stunted by imperfection, like whether it's your body or you don't feel like you're as good as someone else at what you're doing, whether that's some kind of psychic divination or something that you're going for, like a promotion, or even in the way that you speak. I'm hearing that like some of you fear the way that you talk. Like you don't think that you speak with the right level of clarity and you worry about how your words come across. But Spirit is saying that you are actually someone that is so intelligent. and not like genius intelligent. Like there's a difference. I feel like genius intelligence and emotional intelligence, people, it can be both. You can be two things, but I feel like there is a difference on that level of intelligence. Not that one is higher or lower, they're just different. And Spirit is really conveying that you have strong emotional intelligence specifically. It keeps being thrown at me as well, emotional intelligence. And it's come from lifetimes of experience. And this is a gift that you've had to cultivate over time. Being able to be so wise, being able to be the master of your own life. Because I see these hands with strings attached, like there's like a puppeteer, like a puppet master. And this is you, I feel like, mastering your own life. But I feel like many of you have also felt like what you have has been a curse, because we have this like puppeteer being shown here. And then over here, we have these two hands with knives just being pushed through them. Like, oh, my gifts are so beautiful. Da da da. Look at all these things I can create. And look at what it does. Like, honestly, sometimes being highly emotionally intelligent, highly sensitive, an empath even, or having psychic gift can come at a price. Meaning sometimes we are literally like lie detectors. People will lie to us about the stupidest shit, and we have to have the sense to not call them out on it because we have no proof. It's like, you can't just be like, oh, I had a feeling. Like, people don't ever trust that. Not everyone. Some people do, but I feel like it can be a blessing and a curse because sometimes we gain information that we wish we didn't know. And I say we because I feel like I have a knack for this. Like, I don't know why people are ever pressed to lie to me because I always know. But that's very common with emotional intelligence. And I keep saying emotional intelligence because that to me is what a highly sensitive person is they have really high emotional intelligence. But this also falls on the line of psychics, empaths. I feel like there's another word that I'm missing in there. But you get what I'm saying. Basically, you are very naturally inclined to have this, and you need to stop doubting your imperfections or doubting your gifts. Spirit is being very loud and clear about that. Let's go ahead and look into your oracle cards that we have for you. So we have communication is key with the new moon in Gemini, which we are coming up on one of those, not in the month of May, but in June. There will be a new moon in Gemini. A win-win outcome is forecast with the full moon in Libra, and it's time to take action with new moon in Aries. So I feel like for some of you, these gifts are here because you're meant to do something with them. And I say that because communication is key. This is going to be you communicating your gifts outward. A win-win outcome is forecast. This really talks about there being balance and harmony in your life. So I feel like those of you that have had like crazy experiences and don't know how to control the energy or how to even like keep other people's energy out of your energetic field, that's something that you need to get very clear on. And like start to work on protecting yourself psychically, because I'm feeling like there might be an imbalance happening and Spirit wants you to take the time to protect yourself a little bit more. I have some videos, I think, on my channel about protection magic. I know I did one on like calling the corners. I definitely could probably stand to do more. Like, I think I did a video with my husband a while back too on protection magic because he does a lot of the protection magic for us. But there's like cloaking, there's outlining your aura, there's using incense or rosemary. There's all different kinds of ways to keep yourself protected. You can use black tourmaline. And then it's time to take action. Spirit is giving you the okay to dive into this gift, to pick up a book on HSP, highly sensitive person, or empaths. I think I have a couple reviews on my channel as well for the highly sensitive person and for this book on empaths. I will try to link as many of these things as I'm mentioning down below, so make sure you check the description box. But it's time for you to dive in, like books on the things that you're interested in. I always recommend books because I'm a reader, but you can also go and search through YouTube. I have videos that I've made. There are other content creators that have made stuff. So it's time to really take action on getting deeper into your practice, into your understanding, and doing something with it. Now, we also have well-being. I think this goes hand in hand with the protection that we talked about. And we have talent. You literally are naturally gifted. This is so, Spirit is like about to slap you upside the head. Like, your guides are so frustrated with you. Not like, don't get me wrong, your guides definitely are so full of love and compassion for you, like unconditional love, truly. But I feel like some of them are literally like, why are you doubting your greatness? Please stop doing that. Because we have the talent card. You literally have a natural talent and you were meant to have this. It was given to you as a gift for a reason. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be like in a career in this field of any of the things I've mentioned. It could just be that you are helping your family, your community, helping yourself to like guide your own life, just trusting yourself to be your own inner guide. Everybody has the ability to be their own inner guide. We all have an inner guidance system, but I feel like you have something very amplified. We also have for you, lastly, we have the mouse and we have self-love. So with the mouse, this to me is a lot about doing things in the shadows. It can also talk a lot about fitting into small spaces. I feel like, again, there's something about you that wants to keep yourself very small. And that's why the mouse is coming out, because mice, they can like flatten themselves out to fit under doors and shit. Like, you're not a mouse, honey. You're not a mouse. You're not a mouse. You are not meant to keep yourself small. And I know this because you also have self-love that is this image of a peacock. Peacocks, literally, when they are trying to like find a mate, they will purposefully fan out their feathers. And that's why it's called peacocking, is because like if somebody is peacocking in like the day-to-day, like a person is peacocking, they're being very confident and forthcoming with how fabulous they are, basically. So with mouse and peacock, I feel like Spirit is saying, you're not a mouse. You don't need to shrink back to make other people comfortable. You don't need to not speak your truth into existence. You don't need to like, when you tell someone like, I just know, and they don't take that for an answer, you don't need to explain it to them. Like, flex on a hoe, basically. Like, whoever's guides I'm connecting with right now, I think it's a few of y'all's. Your guides are hilarious. I feel like I am channeling the way that they would speak to you. And they're just like, no, flex. Like, we're having a good time. Okay, so with self-love though, like just be kinder to yourself. Like I said, I feel like your guides really want you to know that you need to give yourself this love. You need to give yourself this ability to, like, when you walk into a room, don't ask yourself if, oh my gosh, are they going to like me? No, ask yourself, am I going to like them? Because you're an amazing, wonderful, magical being that has so much potential and so many gifts literally like in the palms of your hands. Like, I feel like you probably could do like magic rolling. Like, there's a way that I want to say it might be like a Reiki practice where you can actually like roll a ball of energy. Like, you're probably somebody that is able to do that really easily. But like anything you decide to test out, I feel like is going to come to you very, very easily. So try things out. Don't be afraid. You've got this. You're just such a magnificent being. I feel like I can feel your energy too. And like, we're just vibing. I love it. I have pile number 3. You are it. Okay. But I hope this reading finds you well. I genuinely loved connecting with this pile. So thank you for your fabulous energy. And please do not forget, when you stand up in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Don't forget to check out all the cards linked down below if you want to get any of them for yourself. Follow my Instagram, my Twitter, or my Instagram, my TikTok, and my Twitch. I actually don't do Twitter. Make sure you follow me. All the links are down below. We will be going live on May 11th for free tarot card readings on my Twitch channel. So make sure. I'll post more on that as the time gets closer, but make sure you're following me so you know when that happens. And if you would like to and you feel called to, it is never an expectation, but always appreciated. I have my Cash App, Venmo, PayPal listed down below. I do accept tips for my readings, but I do not expect it. So if you want to, awesome. If you don't, that's also great. But I love you all so, so much, my pumpkins, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.